Luke chapter 24. On the first of the Sabbaths, at early dawn, while it was still dark, they came to the tomb and brought the aromatics they had prepared. There were other women with them. They found the stone rolled away from the tomb, but when they went in, they didn't find Yeshua's body. They were entirely at a loss about this. Suddenly, two men in radiant clothing stood by them. They were terrified and bowed to the ground. The men asked them, "Why are you looking for the living among the dead? He isn't here. He has already risen. Remember your conversation while he was still in Galilee, how he explained that the human Son was to be betrayed into the hands of sinful men, be crucified, and raised on the third day." Then they remembered his words. They returned from the tomb, and they told everything to the 11 and to the others. Now they were Mary Magdalene, and Joanna, and Mary, the mother of James. And they and the others told everything to the envoys. But what they said seemed to be nonsense, and they didn't believe them. But Simon got up and ran to the tomb and looked in and saw the linen lying by itself. And he went away wondering to himself what had happened. That same day, two of them were going to a village called Emmaus, 60 stadion from Jerusalem. They were talking with each other about everything that had happened. While they were talking and evaluating what had happened, Yeshua approached them and began walking with them. And even though they saw him, they were prevented from recognizing him. He asked them, "What are you discussing among yourselves as you walk around so sadly?" Then one of them, named Cleopas, asked him, "Are you a visitor in Jerusalem, unaware of the things that have happened here in the last few days?" He asked them, "What things?" They replied, "The things about Yeshua of Nazareth. The man was a prophet, powerful in words and actions before Jehovah and before all the people. The high priests and elders handed him a death sentence and crucified him. But we fully expected him to deliver Israel. Yes, and besides all this, 3 days have passed since all these things happened. Then some of our women friends astonished us. They went to the tomb early this morning, and they didn't find his body. They came and told us that they saw spirit messengers there, and they said he was alive. Then some of us went to the tomb and found it just as the women had said, but they didn't see him." Then Yeshua said, "Foolish people, you're so slow to believe everything the prophets have spoken. Wasn't it inevitable that the Messiah would suffer and enter into his splendor?" Then, beginning with Moses and with all the prophets, he explained to them all the scriptures about himself. They came near the village where they were going, and he acted as if he were going to a more distant place. But they urged him, "Stay with us because the day is over and it's nearly dark." So he went inside and stayed with them. Now as he reclined with them, he took bread and blessed it and broke it and gave it to them. Instantly their eyes were opened and they recognized him. Then he vanished from their sight. They asked each other, "Didn't our every thought burn within us as he talked with us on the road and explained the scriptures to us?" They got up that very hour and returned to Jerusalem. They found the 11 assembled, and the others with them, who were saying, "Certainly our Master has risen. In fact, he appeared to Simon." Then they explained what had happened on the road and how they recognized him when he broke bread. While they were talking about these things, Yeshua stood among them and said, "Peace be with you. It is I. Don't be afraid." They were startled and terrified because they thought that they were looking at a spirit. Yeshua asked them, "Why are you so afraid? And why are you imagining things? Look at my hands and my feet and see that it is really me. Touch me and be certain, because a spirit doesn't have flesh and bones as you see I have." While he was speaking, he showed them his hands and his feet. While they still couldn't believe it due to their joy and astonishment, he asked them, "Do you have anything to eat?" They gave him a piece of broiled fish and some honeycomb. He took it and ate it while they watched. Then he said, "This is what I told you while I was still with you, that everything written about me in the Torah of Moses and in the prophets and in the Psalms must be fulfilled." Then he opened their minds so that they could understand the Scriptures. He told them, "It was written in the Scriptures, and so it is necessary that the Messiah would suffer and rise from the dead on the third day, and that in his name a message of minds being changed and sins being forgiven, as if they had never been committed, would be heralded in every nation, beginning in Jerusalem. You are witnesses of these things. I'm about to send you what my Father promised. But wait in Jerusalem until you are clothed with power from high above." He led them out as far as Bethany and lifted his hands and blessed them. Then, while he was blessing them, he left them and was taken up to heaven. They worshipped him and returned to Jerusalem, greatly elated. They were always in the temple, praising and blessing Yehovah. Amen.